feel free to pause the video if you need to. Yeah, so I like writing. It's a great way to get my thoughts out. It's really hard to find the words sometimes for how complicated my perception is as somebody with Asperger's and ADHD and, well, more so mild ADHD, but I just think, so much of what has become known as, like, objective existence cannot survive, it cannot thrive without some element of subjectivity, some form of faux realism that people can attach to things in order to give themselves more substance. Because ultimately, even if they end up almost wasted in the end due to their poorly thought out efforts, so to speak, so much of existence is dependent on us screwing up and getting ourselves in funks in order to really be able to thrive. And now, frankly, this isn't entirely true, as sometimes people's miserable or awful decisions can actually crudely backfire on them. But at the same time, without just a little bit of danger in our lives, nothing can be considered real or worth living. And there are a lot of factors that play into this, as indicated by my writing, or I guess budding journalism efforts. There really is no way to, like, fully know all the time what is the correct route to pursue. Now, of course, people will be able to tell you from their own experience, this is a great route to pursue, or this is a direction to travel in order to get the most out of your experience of writing your story. But the unfortunate truth is most people, despite the knowing that their lives are the product of their own making, will still leave so much of it in the hands of others. And it's hard to know a lot of times how to approach this topic in such a way that you will be reaching the right people. And because there are so many people who just try to dissuade others or try to come up with excuses as to why a certain route is not worth going on, as indicated by what I just showed you, they bring some of their faux reality into the mix, making it even more difficult for the person to actually think for themselves, and making them so reliant on someone who has greater intellectual superiority than them. And I just think that that's a little that's a little off-putting. It's like sometimes you do need to follow your gut, even when the rest of the world tells you that will just land you in a pit. And what I mean by the rest of the world is just the rest of the rational world, the hive mind of intellectual stubbornness, who have already made up their minds that their voice is the only one worth listening to. And I mean, obviously, it's the same thing with a lot of other thought leaders who don't put a lot of true realism into their thought patterns, but when you think about it, like, no matter who you listen to, no matter who you follow, everyone really is on their own journey. And sometimes even those who are pursuing a life the incorrect way or the way that leads to even greater confusion and just a more muddled backdrop of experience, they might actually have a lot of joy in their lives. Now, if it's joy you're striving for, sure, that's a noble pursuit. I mean, who doesn't want to be happy? But when it comes to the questions of what is more, what is worth living for, what is achievable within the context of an objective framework, forgive the background noise, um, this is up for like people much more um, talented and scholarly with their mindsets to ponder and to dissect. I'm in no position for that, but yeah, it's just like, take for example the province of Manitoba, right? Very random, off the cuff. Um, Now, take the outline of the province of Manitoba, flip it on its head so that it looks like one of Alf's cousin's feet, right? Now, place it in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Yep. You following me? Now, turn the backdrop of the ocean purple, and then give it a slight orange tint. Think hibiscus. Now, take a baby koala, place that cutout of the koala in the middle of the flipped upside down provincial outline, and now place some fireworks up its hooch. Now you got free fun for dolphins, porpoises, and degenerate whales and sharks all around. Yep, this is what I'm talking about. This is what floats around in my mind more than anything else. Do with it what you will, make of it what you want. It's still just my biggest talent at the moment is just coming up with creative, absurd scenarios that can be just multiplied on 1,000 times over and screwed with, tampered with, in order to create another equally absurd end result. But yeah, that's what I'm good at. I'm not that great at just thinking through things correctly. And like, even when I do, sometimes my mind is at odds with me, and it's really difficult to actually communicate to an audience in such a way that I know who I'm speaking to, right? Now, I have plenty of people in my life who anything I told them like this, they would get it. They would understand the place I'm coming from. But for those who are come from a more learned and discerning perspective, framework of existence, and know what can happen as a result of letting my best efforts consume me to the point where I feel like there's no correction that can be provided. I mean, that's just me laying it out flat. The answer is obvious, but it's just, I have to actually start broadcasting myself more, or else I will not feel any level of satisfaction that I can say is worth living for. And, this is where I derive the most satisfaction from that I can get the time being, when I'm in a place where I don't have the best resources to demonstrate my intellectual imagination as it continues to ebb and flow. But yeah, hopefully whoever's watching can take something from this video. But this is my regular voice. Like, I'm being 100% real with you right now. This isn't put on. This isn't like just bullshit. Well, I mean, I guess you could say all of it is bullshit, but not in the best of ways. But that's all right, you know. Anyone can take something from a video if they're willing to actually watch through to the end. So, yeah, um, that's about all I have for now. I will continue to look into um, apps for art design and animation editorials. I'm very much into that sort of work, but that's to be determined. So just stick around if you want more.